of testing. The university also admitted that these faulty tests inflated the number of student athletes who tested positive by 600%. Joining me now is Dr. Ramin Asqui, cardiologist, CEO of Foxhole Cardiology. Also with me is Dr. Harvey Risch, professor of epidemiology at the Yale School of Public Health. Dr. Risch, how widespread do you think these false positives might be?
Good evening, Laura. I don't really know the extent of how widespread. I know that there was a lab in Massachusetts that had a problem with false positives and found in its analysis a few hundred of them. It's really hard to tell because they're so complicated, the equipment that's used, that it's hard to tell whether the supplies were bad or the equipment had a fault or some other reasons. There's a dozen different ways that false positives could occur, and it has to be tracked down.
Yeah, well, the question is how widespread and how may it have affected our public policy decisions, including at the college level. But Dr. Fauci said this today about when we might get back to normal.
We will not really return with ease to a degree of normality that we all seek until we do get a safe and effective vaccine. I believe we will have that by the end of this year, the beginning of next calendar year, 2021.
Okay, Dr. Asqui, today you had a setback with the AstraZeneca trials, but does there need to be a vaccine for America to be America again?
I think the short answer is no. We see obviously in places like New York and even Arizona that herd immunity is taking place. It's not about masks, it's about the human condition naturally responding to a virus that's attenuating. And a vaccine is probably not going to have sufficient safety data by the time it's, quote, ready for it to really matter. You know, vaccines to coronaviruses are notoriously difficult. We've tried for a decade to do this, and there's a reason why it hasn't occurred yet. It's unlikely that we'll have a safe and effective vaccine that people are willing to take voluntarily by the end of the year, because it simply takes time to collect that data.
Dr. Risch, you've written extensively about hydroxychloroquine, and it continues to be dismissed by journalists. I saw Sanjay Gupta give it a smack today on air over at CNN. But listen to this. There was a new study that came out from Spain, from Washington Examiner. COVID-19 patients with acute respiratory infections may improve with a regimen of vitamin D3, hydroxychloroquine, and azithromycin. Of the 50 patients treated with vitamin D3, only 2 were admitted to an intensive care unit. What of this, Dr. Risch?
And none died out of 50 patients. The interesting thing is that in older people in Spain, in here too, people tend to be vitamin D deficient. It's not life-threatening, but their vitamin D levels are low. Vitamin D is beneficial for the immune system and needs to be in the normal range. Supplementation is in reasonable amounts is a good idea. And what they did is they gave a big flash of vitamin D to supplement it into the normal range very quickly. And that's what made the hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin work very well.
And we don't have time, but Andrew Cuomo actually tried to blame Donald Trump today for COVID-19. No joke. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And coming up, something you'll never see happen at a Biden rally, the last bite next.
A small thing.